Yeah, first. Hey, am I live? Am I live right now? I just got this thing saying that it was trying to reconnect. But yes, 11:30. It'll be short, maybe like an hour, maybe two if I want to be dumb. But yeah. Despite how I'm feeling right now, I was like, let me just play something. If I'm gonna play something, I might as well stream it. Now, if I'm gonna stream, I might as well try to finish this. Hey, what up, your boy? It's 2:36 here. Damn, you're up late, dude.
Give me some money.
Well, hold on. Let's get this party started. My non-alcoholic hop splash. I'd sponsor the shit out of this stuff if I could.
I did.
How you doing, Angel? How you doing, your boy?
But that wasn't on the table at the time. You're just a good friend.
So, boom. I'm really gonna play a game to keep the sads away. Yeah. And I want to finish this. Hey, I'm live, right? Talking to nobody. Ether. The abyss. I'm having some connection issues, I think. Oh, I'm live. Yes. Internet, don't fail me now. I have Cox internet, and ironically, they also suck Cox. That's all we got out here. Yeah. I think I'm getting close to the end. I'm on chapter 6, and I think it says what, 7? Even though I heard there's a chapter 8 apparently if I do something right. I want to finish this. Probably not tonight. We'll see. But oh yeah, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was trying to get rid of you. Not me. Not Hermione. You. I like that music. The music sounds like Covered Wars, you know? It sounds like if John Carpenter made a zombie music. Hi, Shuri. You know, Marcus, your funeral. Sweet. Wait, do I have enough? Hold on. First of all. Nope, hold on. Oh, but I don't have a safe house. Whatever. Back. Actually, what am I doing? That boy ain't right. Hi, Shuri. You wanna stop meowing at me? Doesn't matter how much I pet her, how much I play with her, this bitch gonna... What are you attacking me? What are you attacking me for? She's going to meow at me. He's like, I'm not done cuddling, motherfucker, get back here. Yeah, Marcus, get the fuck over here. I've covered wars, you know? Through a stream, huh? Didn't know you were short. First of all, I'm average. That's okay. The inches of my height went to my penis. Next makes me happy. How you doing, Ninja? See what you did there, son of a bitch. God damn it, it's so hard to navigate this side of the map. It's like they really don't want you to use a car here. Yeah. Marcus, we might have to do this on foot, buddy. Why is it saying that again? Am I losing fucking connection? I wanted to have like 18 VODs. I'm saying my name, it's so distracting. No, Ninja. Ninja. Well, I'm trying to clear a path for me and my boy Marcus over here so I don't get him killed. Because these zombies are fucking going insane now, but you know, he decided to follow me. It's on him now. Marcus! Oh, your name's Marcus? Oh, shit. It's a cool name. Oh, I still leveled up. Hell yeah. So. Oh, well, yeah. Nice. Well, congrats on having a cool name. Isn't Betty a woman's name? In that movie. How the fuck do I get up there? Check the map. Ah, leave me alone. Stairs? Oh, it is down here. I think. Am I going the right way? There's a safe house down here? I need to find a fucking safe house. My grandma's Betty. Whoa, Black Betty. Bam da bam. Whoa, Black Betty. Bam a lamb. Black Betty had a child. Bam a lamb. The damn thing's gone wild. Bam a lamb. Is your grandma black by chance? Can I call her Black Betty? How do I get to that fucking safe house? This is annoying. Go out the fucking door. Oh boy. Stranger danger. Game, can you at least like highlight me? I'm gonna go this way. You go this way. I'll go home. Oh boy. Oh boy. Give me a chance, game. Goddamn. All right, hold on. I'm going the wrong way. I think I gotta go this way and then next. So let me do this building over here. Sorry. Oh man, we both might die. Good thing I just saved. Bitch. Alright. Alright, Marcus. We gotta find a way to get on top of this building. Just you and me. Oh, I think I know how. Can I climb this? Yes! Let's see. I saw The Amazing World of Gumball is getting a new season. Wait, is it really? Is it really? That's a fucking goated show. Like, as far as like Cartoon Network goes, you know, there's the whole golden era. That one... show fucks. You know, Ram Jam did a cover of Black Betty. They weren't the original band that did the song. Yes, yes. I did know that that song has a cover. Probably several covers. Hold on. I'm gonna slap you. Bitch. 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 We're clear? Not clear. Bitch. Ah, bitch. Slap you. Get over here so I can slap you. I'm the slapper. I'm the new Batman villain. Oh, I guess I did kill him. Alright, any other bitches out here? Where the bitches at? Bitch. Yeah, cleared it. It was original Ben, then Ran Jam, then Spider Bite. Those are the only ones I know about. I think Spider Bite is the popular one, right? That's like the whoa, with like the that modulated voice. The one that was in Kung Pao. What did I get? Eater's World. Life increases life recovered by food. Nah, I like. Give me all the pee-pee. I want all the pee-pee. How's your night going, you boy? Boy? Melee. More moves and enemy grapples. Agility. Actually, getting grab less would be nice. They'd be fucking grabbing. Ooh, a piercing though. I could do. Oh, you have enough for all of that. This gives survivors recovery. Yeah, that's good. Yay, you're actually streaming. Oh, okay, yeah. I saw I disconnected for like a couple minutes. It said it was reconnecting. It looked like I was live, and I'm glad I still am. What up, Angel? How's your night going? Going on your neck of the woods. Yeah, it disconnected me. Aw. I think if you refreshed, you would have been back sooner. My night's going all right. Almost done with work. Oh, I keep forgetting you work late. Field moves are less enemy grapples and then piercing bullets. I do be shooting. Next level. All right, now that this is clear, Marcus, I'm gonna have to dismiss you. Wherever. Oh, let me get rid of that though. Cool. And then where is it? Where's the board? Here, chill. How's your night? It's okay. I felt away, you know, so I was like, let me play something. And I was like, if I'm gonna play, I might as well stream. And I was like, if I'm gonna stream, I might as well stream this and try to finish it. So it's gonna be a fairly short stream. I'm not gonna be here all night, but an hour or two, you know, catch my late night peeps. I was oh, they did the version that was in the movie Condemned. Yeah. Oh, the Condemned with fucking Stone Cold. I haven't thought about that movie in years. I hope it's helping. Surprisingly, yeah. I think I just like this. You know, just playing something. I got some dope people. Not, it didn't even have to necessarily watch. I just like talking. Chatting with you fuckers. Good. Yeah. Yeah, starring Stone Cold Steve Austin. I do remember. It was basically a ripoff of Battle Royale. But how's your night going? How was crab legs? I want crab legs. This one. No, not pummel. The other one. Wait, actually, I wonder if the super crossbow is gonna be amazing now that my guns. Oh, my guns don't penetrate yet. Never mind. But I do want the electric crusher. And some guns. How did day goes by? Wait, what? Hold on. How did day goes by? Not a day goes by. I don't think about the movie The Condemned. Okay. Yeah, boy, I love you, but I feel like I'm on a game show. I have to guess what you're saying sometimes. It's like I like to solve. Fucking amazing. I had crab legs and lobster tails. Ooh, that sounds fucking delicious. Also, your boy, that was supposed to be funny, not mean. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. I'm on one tonight. Not hurt your feelings. I don't know that. What's wrong with me? Hold on. Yeah, because you're at work, which means you're driving that car, which means you're using speech to text. Or, yeah. I dismissed my boy, Marcus, and now I'm on my way, the long way back over here. Seafood boil, it really scratch an itch. Oh, you had seafood boil. See, look here, that's different, all right? Crab legs and lobster tails is one thing. Seafood boil is a whole other animal. That fucking bag, and they give you those fucking thin ass gloves that break immediately. You go home, you're like, I smell my hands for like 2 hours. I don't care how many times I try to wash them. It's like it's in me, you know? That probably sounded disgusting, but I don't know. I don't know. It comes with the territory. I'm gonna bring my own gloves next time. I'm gonna come with like little fucking surgical Dexter gloves. And then I'll put the little fucking Durex. The egg and potato with the hot Hot and juicy medium sauce. Yeah. Fuck. I'm tasting it right now. I can taste it. All right, I'm gonna go to the highway. The highway. Yeah, I need the black food grade gloves. Yeah, exactly. The ones where motherfuckers will just like be reaching in the oven and grabbing stuff, like the heat resistant ones. That's what I want. Uh-oh, not the music. Oh shit, they're giving me the crazy music. I need a car. I'll find one. Fuck you. Fuck you. It's all right. You're not hurting my feelings, but the developers of speech attacks might be a little salty at that statement. Yeah, no, I get it. I forget that that's like, which I mean, honestly, I appreciate you, making an effort to chit chat here. It does mean a lot, especially on the clock. Oh shit. Oh goddamn! Already? I just got the fucking car. Let me nick it. Oh shit! Jeez! No! Wait! I need a new car in a minute. Right, this way. Yeah. How's work going though? You said you're almost done with it? You said you do security? You and Jay are same. That's what I meant to say. I said JJ. Oh boy. But yeah, I'm planning something cool for Game Boy streams. That, and like I said, there's a couple games in my queue, but I'm totally down for the, oh, what the fuck? No. I need that car. I need that weapon. Fuck you guys. What a fucking guitar? Get away from me. Did that car did some damage. Or guitar. Where's my crossbow? Alright. Get away from me. Drop my car, nigga. Oh, fuck, I damaged the car. Yeah, like an hour left. We are shirt brothers. Oh, black shirt? Does it also happen to say, Helldiver shit on it? Liberty, democracy, and justice. I gotta get back into Helldivers. That game is fucking fun. What the fuck? Ooh, I'm gonna go up the ramp. Ooh-wee. And this is the right way. Yeah. Oh, but yeah. Once I get rid of, once I get a couple games off my queue, and then I get that Game Boy thing going, oh fuck. I'll be down for the Pokemon co-stream. Or not co-stream, but you know, our little tournament thing. Did my car just fart? What was that? Okay. Ah, jeez, Rick. Ah, jeez, Rick. Fuck. I hate you guys. You guys ruin everything. Get the fuck out of my way. Get the fuck out of the way. Alright, that worked out, kinda. No, Jay and Asher brothers, we have the same security shirt. Oh, okay. Nice. I could do this. Vernon? Who the fuck? I didn't even know there was a survivor. Alright, sorry, Vernon. I'm handling a lot right now. Oh, those are bad guys I'm hearing. Oh boy. Oh boy. Am I going? Okay, I can just run straight there, I think. Nice. I've just been wanting to play any more Pokemon till then, so I've been playing that Superstar game. And oh, you haven't been one. Okay, I got you. Superstar Saga. How are you liking that one? Have you played that before? I've said this before, and I mean it. I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, it's fine. It's good of Mario games, like the platformers. But I love Mario RPGs, like Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, Mario RPG. Like they're just so charming. And I'll play the platformers, like the 2D ones. I never really got into the 3D ones personally, but that's just me. I get it. I know I'm in the minority here. All right, bitch, I'll save you.
Oh my god. Thanks. I'll take my chances on him. Thanks for your help.
I played it before. I'm enjoying it, dude. It's super cute. Super cute. Actually, I'm gonna go to the safe house real quick. I need to re-up. Your boy's supplies are feeling depleted right now. All right. And I've got to climb this shit. All right. All right. How do I get up there? Don't remember. My new mic I got now. I can have my mic on with the music playing, and it doesn't drown out my voice. Oh, sweet, dude. Hell yeah. I will say that was the one thing that was like it was either all the way or none of you, and none of you, or the other way around. It's nice to have some game audio. Uh-oh. Hang on time. Impact hammer. Never mind. Do I need a gun? Hang on, what do I got first? I need melee. Let me get a flaming sword. Super combo. Right? I think it's a super combo, is it? Combo. Regular combo. Tight. Use that one first. Let me run my way over to the next mission. It was fun as hell. Hey, what are you up to, Angels? Playing anything yet with the emulator? It's either music on or off, or no, just the volume. Yeah, that's a bummer. Oh shit! We got boxing gloves and what? Gloves and motor oil. Okay, do this. Get rid of the fucking slapper. This thing sucks. And motor oil. Wait, motherfuckers, wait. Grab this thing. All right. Bye. Oh, what is this? Summer dress? Nah. I feel cool right now. Have you guys seen them new Move Master controller keyboard things? I have no idea what that is. What is it doing? Oh boy. Oh really? Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh fuck, they're all alive. bitch. You know what? I got something for your ass. Bitches. Oh shit, no. Fuck off. Fuck off. Goddamn, guys. Ah. No. Wait. Oh shit. Can I post a link? Of course you can. All right, we're good. Nope. What am I doing? Well, what's my objective right now? Disable the alarm? Okay. Where we're at though? Is there like there's another door over there. Oh wait, there's an objective. Can I open this door? Nope. Oh, there's upstairs. Oh shit! Uh-oh. I'll be trying these fucking fire gloves. Sit.
Your funeral, sucker.
Where do I go? Going the right way or not? Oh shit, one of these guys. Okay. Here's the thing. This game is kind of bugged. I can't alt tab out to view this. I'll click it over here on my iPad, so I'll open it here, okay? I just can't share it. Oh, I have seen those where it's like you move it like this. Yeah. I'm gonna get one and use it for movement and then use mouse for aiming. I hate using keyboard for games, fair. Yeah, no, that makes sense because it's like eight directions. And it's either all like half speed or full speed, right? You can't do it all. Hold on, open up, motherfucker! It's the FBI. I check my stream monitor now. All right, let me close Twitch. Reopen it. Manager. All right. Fair. Yeah, you can twist it too. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't know that's what they were called. Boom! Why I oughta. Room's clear. No, it's not. SMS. Get up. All right, hold on. Okay. What? Room's not clear yet? Oh, this bitch. Tight. So, I was thinking about the next game. I'm gonna make a theme song for my stream. Oh, dude, that'd be really cool.
Thank you for your verification.
That'd be really cool.
Lockdown.
Do you know what game it's gonna be? Is that a secret?
Now, where are those parts? Damn it! Where are they? somewhere.
These parts have to be here somewhere. That's what I said the night I became a man. Altimeter?
Piece of this.
Actually, wait, fucker. I was gonna do something along the lines like, "Ya boy, bitch, yeah, your boy, bitch, remember the name. He might make a song or play a game." Dude, yeah, if you can, making a theme song's fucking pretty based. It's like, it's something that not a lot of people can do. It's a skill you have, and it will definitely make you stand out. Add some charm to your stream. It's a win-win. The fuck? Wait, what's exploding? Nice.
Hey, one of your old illegal pals over at South Almuda Station. He's in trouble, man.
Right, get out of here. Ah! The Hunted. Nice. That's a very bad movie. How do I get out of here? Let me out! Let me the fuck out! I think like a donut or something. Food? Snack. Need snack, I'm right here. Alright, and then oh fuck, I fell right back down. You want stars? I'll give you stars. I'll show you stars. I can make one for you. It would be the song Push It to the Limit, but a parody where it would go Shatter to the Limit. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, if you want, I would never stop you. But no pressure. I was saying, that was a cool jump. When I'm done with my, use your words, Joey. When I'm done with my Game Boy Advance overlay, I can give that to you. I'm looking for the, I don't even know if I have the recipe for it now I think about it. Not the Blambo. Acid jar. Shorter to the limit. Fuck you. That's pretty good. Nice. He's under the limit. Limit. Have to be this tall to ride. I was looking for what's the name? I don't even know the name of the gun. It's like, what's that? There we go. Lead pipe and an assault rifle or gun. Light machine gun, large machine gun, iron pipe. You got a pipe? You put the cap poop in your mouth. Yeah, I'll just hold on to this till I find a lead pipe. Until then, I got side mission. I got Death Star, Death Star. Stop burping, Joey. Investigate the Alamuda station. Yeah. Ah! Made it.
Come to daddy.
What is this? Sledgehammer and the axe. A horse head mask. No, not yet. I gotta hold on. Wait for a pipe. Oh. Hell yeah. And a pipe. It's fate. It's meant to be.
Sweet.
Shorter than the limit. Lucky you have a sense of humor. Oh my god, this thing's extremely angry. Hold on. I'm scared. We go to the car place. Help. Dude, what's in here? Anything for me? No. Of course not. I need a better car. This game is so fun, but how much time do I have? I am actually running low on time in the game. I didn't waste too much time, did I? I thought I was pretty active. Fuck. Oh, build. This'll do. What the fuck is this? Oh, fuck. I'll never know. Drive! Oh my god. Why is it backwards? Hold on, I can't drive. I can't turn it. There we go. There we go. Alright. I'm actually gonna trade this. I don't like it. There. Oh, I got it out of the mouth. Nice. I need something faster and meaner. Junk car. We got junk car. Junk car. Make my way all the way over Dale. Right. And then left. Game, why do you do this to me? Can I really not go through there? Oh, I can. Yeah, punch it, Chewie. There we go. Damn. Good deal. All right. That'll connect. I should and probably could have just gotten this way, but this will work. Jeez. Well, how do I get in there? What's going on? Oh, these guys. Uh-oh. Wait, I wasn't ready. Wait, motherfucker! Grenade!
Hey, asshole! Hey, goddamn cover!
Alright, I got you, Doug. What up, Doug?
He almost had you there. You
Do
alright?
do 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 do
I was
do
down
do.
by 50 rebels once, and I got out of that with nothing but a toothpick. Now look sharp. There's some serious government conspiracy going down, so we best be pulling our butts out of here.
Okay. Is it? Oh, you can follow me. Fuck! I have to drop your ass off now. Good thing you. Oh. Let's go to this safe house first. I could clear that one out if I could fucking find it. There's a door right there. Okay, okay. Joke of being dumb. Come on, Doug, we gotta find a car. Where'd mine go? Is it over here still? Barely. Let's get in this thing. Come on, Doug. Doug? Doug? God damn it, Doug. Follow. You teleport? Where the fuck is he? Doug? Doug? Doug, what are you doing, bro? Come on, dude. Doug, you fucking idiot. What happens if I just beat your ass right now? Go.
You ain't no ally.
Coming, Doug? Alright, get fucked, Doug. I tried. Bye, Doug. Love you. Coming now? God damn it, Doug. Alright, whatever. I don't care anymore. Fuck Doug. Damn. I'm also going the wrong way. Doug, this is your last fucking chance. He's stuck in the car. I guess he doesn't follow me. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Here he's out. My fucking van. And left, yep. I mean, I kind of want the... Oh boy. No more side missions.
That tattoo babe from earlier is taking fire in the industry tunnel, man. You better hurry.
Oh, am I not headed towards that? Oh, I'm not. Oh, god damn it. I'm coming, tatted babe. Coming at you. Ha! Oh, it is.
Bastards are gonna kill us all. Screw you.
That worked out. Kinda. Kinda sort of, not really.
Ready? Fire!
Wait. Hey, shawty.
You okay?
But now I'm running like a marked woman. It's bullshit. Anyway, thanks for saving my butt. Let's get out of here.
Alright. Level 40.
Another level. Okay.
Alright, scavenge first.
Something right here.
Right on.
Oh, next there's a car. Pick up a... Oh. Bitch, you're eating gas? What is that?
Check around here.
Uh-huh.
No weapons? Okay, yeah, sure. They're better than nothing. Ranged. Shots penetrate now. And then... Alright. Oh, fuck.
Isn't paintball.
Alright. Alright, get it, bitch. Okay. Alright, and then... Safe house over here. If I forget, let's just go straight. Got Death Star. Death Star! We're gonna clear out a safe house. Drop you off. Then it's stoner bashing time. Network upgrades? I guess it's this way. Come on, bitch. It's not a safe house? Is there a... It's on the roof, isn't it? God damn it. So find it. No. Is it up here? I think it is. Yep. You doing good on time? What is it? Okay. I mean, I'm running out of days here, but I'm on the close to the last chapter, so... Stay the course, Joey. Not yet? Okay, cool. Stunt double? What does that do? Increases damage inflicted with unarmed attacks? Unarmed? Fuck off. Action radius, firearms, weapon durability? Ooh. It's a good one, but let me get some more PP. Small bat. Weapons locker. What am I short on first? Split shot. Can I just buy one? What else do I have? Bizarre. I'm okay on melee for once. then yeah, I'm good. Get rid of this bitch. Oh. Oh, the game crashed. Hope it saved. I think it saves after clearing that, right? I did kind of a lot without saving. Oh well, time to play a stalker then. The new one? Is that good? Push it to the limit. I did. I like it, but it's only one I played. Actually, I think it did save. I'm waiting for the enhanced edition of Stalker 1 to come out any minute now. What came out? Was it Stalker 2? Is that what came out? Oh shit. It didn't save me clearing the safe house, which is annoying, so I have to drive back over there. But still Lauren with me. Lauren's alive. Did I get my weapons? No. Son of a bitch. There's a... It's on the roof. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. God damn it. At least I didn't lose that much time. Drop this dickhole off at a safe house. Get in, Lauren. Right? This way? No. Many people say it's the best one, but I don't have, doesn't have controller support, so I haven't tried it yet. There's a Stalker Anomaly, which is a modded version of the original game, but you just download it for free. Oh, I've heard about that. I think Paul and Jay were talking about that once. Yeah, I prefer controller 2 for the most part. For most games, but first person, I've made the transition now. So I feel like, personally, I would rather play Stalker with a controller. I mean, keyboard and mouse. I can't talk tonight. Wrong, bitch. Clearing this again. If it crashes again, I'm quitting. Yeah, I'm just too LDL? Loud? I'm worn out to make the transition. Lazy? I don't know what that means. Lackadaisical? Is that old? Oh. I saw LDL. So no, you're okay, you're okay. And I used to play Daisy with keyboard, but man, I used to play Daisy with keyboard too. Daisy's awesome. Yeah, I said lackadaisical. What the fuck? Chopper. Oop. You crashed again. It's time to play Lego Star Wars again. Wait, you crash again? Oh, I see what you're saying. Fuck Jay, that game's fun. Star Wars Pod Racing is the best Star Wars game, though. It's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. I think my favorite Star Wars game of all time might be, could be Jedi Survivor. Yeah, out of the fucking way. Coming at me with the third degree over here, all right? You're not my bitch, so stop it with the Inquisition. Where is it? Oh, nice. I like Force Unleashed. Ooh, Force Unleashed is good too. That one's definitely up there for me. Also, because I don't want this bullshit to crash me again, I'm gonna save because I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. I got over my back. Got the whirlwind inside of my head. Oh, fuck. And then, if you let me... Oh, alright, nice. Oh.
Yo, that hippie chick, she's being chased by spec ops on that north bridge by Ingleton.
It'd be sick if everybody would stop, like, getting caught and killed and stuff. Help me help you. Stay alive. I believe in you. Okay, at least it's on this area. Yeah, Force Unleashed is great. That's actually really good. Or God of Star Wars is what I like calling it. Devil May Star Wars. God of Devil May Star Wars. Stupid, but whatever. They should have a boss fight where the song Breaks Up plays in the background. It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. I level up again. I did. Boom. Then towards melee. That's what it was. And let's go save this hoe. Don Julio. Oh, he's the chopper. Chopper's not bad. This! Ah! I keep doing that. What's here? Escape the North Bridge? Oh boy. Crossbow, oil. Where they at? Nope. They in here? They're on top of something, aren't they? Keep your chatter up. I don't know where you're at. Oh, shit. No, it's over there. Wait, oh, I gotta get on the fucking freeway. The freeway. Okay. It even says bridge. God damn it, Joey. Raid, nigga, raid. Imagine if zombie games were more realistic, like that drop you did was tall enough to break something like your ankle, or depending on how you fall, or you would walk around with a broken bone. Dude, you should play DayZ. That's literally what you're describing. I dropped off of a like a deer watch once, and then I broke my ankle, and then I died. I had to limp. I didn't have the stuff to splint it and heal. Oh. Alright, let me on the freeway.
Time to find a new car.
Oh. Can I get in you? Oh no. Yeah, no, you're literally describing DayZ. And if that's what the game you're looking for, it's pretty good. It's a good one. I liked it. Liked it a lot. In fact, if you look at my Steam library, it's my most played game. I have like almost 800 hours in that. You alright, Winnie? You okay, Winnie? Here, go salvage something.
Are you okay? That looked pretty scary. No, I'm not. I can't get out of here before more of them show up.
You're not following me, are you? Okay, good. 'Cause I don't know how many more survivors I can lose. I can't take this guilt anymore. Are you running away? Fuck, she is following me. Go scavenge for
Let's see what
health,
we got
idiot.
Yeah.
Yas. Damn it. You're making me waste time. Oh, this is not so bad. Right there. Get your ass over here. Pick up a gun. Pick up this gun.
Must be something right here.
Right on.
Simon says pick up a weapon.
Thanks. Must have been
Check around here.
Yep.
Thanks. All right, let's go. Go drop your ass off.
Get off!
Oh shit. Not now. Let me at least drop this hell off. Here we go. All right, Winnie. Winnie kind of cute though. I'm gonna start calling her Winnie the Boo. Bye. What do I got? What do I need? All right, I'm good. Golden. Gucci. Let me change my outfit. Honestly, let me go standard for a second. I don't know why it does that for you guys.
Okay.
Wear a hat though. Like that. Sombrero. That's wise ass. I'll do sunglasses. Oh no, just regular. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's go, buddy. I like his default look. It's a good character design. Just a mechanic, you know. All right, now I got a story mission, right? That's it. No, don't call me anymore. Get to the courier. All right, I could do that. It's gauntlet of zombies, though. Is there a car on the way? Oh boy. That's a huge bush. Okay. I can't cut through, but I can go around. So I'm gonna hit the. I know I found. You know, I found out the joke about chicken crossing the road is about suicide. Is it really? Is that like canon? Is that really what it means? Why the chicken cross the road to end it all? He's looking for a way out. Brandon? Is Brandon the courier? No, Brandon's Brandon. I got you, Brandon. Hold on, Brandon. Hold on. Yeah, there's a lot of zombies around Brandon. I got you, Brandon. Brandon, no! Brandon, get the fuck out of the way! Brandon, no! Brandon! Brandon, no! Brandon? Brandon? No! Oh, I cleared him now. Alright. He might not make it after this, but... I'm trying, Brandon. Our Brandon's gone now. Not dead, but he's like out of here. So we're good. Right? Are you good, Brandon? Oh, Brandon's dead now. But he's not like a survivor of mine, so he's good. I don't give a shit anymore. Bye, Brandon. Love you. Pieces. Why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? The other side is a way of saying, oh, you're getting big brained here. You're right. Hail Mary. I can see that. Hold on. Hold on, fucker.
Rock on.
Wait, no. God damn it. Get up. Motherfucker.
It's everything. Better head back to the plane.
Soot! Oh shit, I tried to fly, he caught me. Unhand my Johnson! Man! And enjoy a succulent Chinese meal. Actually, while I'm here, I should probably visit the safe house. Right? Am I by a safe house? I am. When you wear the dragon head, the wings make you look like a knockoff falcon. Yeah, it does. It really does. Yeah, it do. Actually, I'm pretty good on weapons. I'm good. I'm fine. I just need to find a car. We find a car. Get in the car. And there's a car shop right over here. What do you know? Whee! No. Wait. Junk car. I got junk car. My favorite one. All right, left or right? Where am I at? Okay, right. No, actually, no, go left and get on the fucking freeway. Hell yeah. Then I take the off ramp, right? Nope. Well, I do, but this one. Where's Eva? Where you at, Eva? I hope this gas doesn't hurt you. Hold your breath, Eva. Please don't follow me. Fucking off? She's fucking off. Good. Bye, Eva. Right? Yeah, okay, good. Tony Stark made a suit in a cave with a box of scraps. Love that movie. Can I get through there? Kinda. Oh! Well, I had to leave anyway. Oh!
All right, let's do this.
Motherfucker.
Get the hell off. Almost there.
We did it. We did it.
Everyone listen up. I got the
Damn it.
last part. Woo! God damn, man.
Give me a sec.
Hell yeah, brother.
Okay, give it a shot.
Let's give it a try. Now all we need to do is get the others.
So proud of you, Kitten Lips.
Kitten lips?
Proud of you for coming through for all of us in this mess.
Hey,
Oh! I accidentally hit a button.
buddy.
All right, I'm gonna pretend I just got hit in the back of the head. I'll YouTube the cutscene later.
What's going on?
She call you a pussy? That's what I was thinking.
Orphans. How did she know that? What's going on?
I didn't mean to hit a button, but it's okay.
Hey, hey. Punch him up. Punch him up.
Activate the pathetic one first. We'll see if he's the right one or not.
Activate. Activate what?
It's like that one TikTok when you skip a cutscene, it's pure panic in the next scene. Yeah, exactly. I didn't mean to. I didn't miss much, right? They're about to escape, then they get captured, I'm guessing. But I really did wish I get to see it. But yeah, you're right. Oh, goddamn. Oh my god, he's James Bond villain him.
No, Diego.
No, Diego, no! Oh my god! God damn! God damn! It's like Oogie Boogie. He's got bugs and shit inside of him. He's got the snakes from Beetlejuice in him.
It's our last chance.
Holy shit, man.
If I must.
General Hemlock, the lab has been compromised. Repeat, the lab has been compromised.
Uh-oh.
Oh God. No.
That's convenient. My weapons? No. Alright, you eat your dinner. Rudder arm used. I want. Give me my shit. My weapons. They're broken.
Oh yeah.
What else can I make? I just escaped though. I wasn't loose. Yeah, I used my freak strength.
Hell yeah!
I must have said something else. I don't know if I could use that word anymore. Find anything? Oh, no, no, no. All right, whatever. This way? That way? This way? Let's do it! Yep. No. I'm good on health. Let me drop the hot glue. I can use the chemicals. I don't know what I use them with though. Room. Can I combine it? No. Solid cleaner. Oh! Yes. Acid.
Right on.
Okay. Alright. Big brain. Game is so good.
12. Number 12.
Oh shit.
I know who you are.
Wait.
I'm Isabella Keys.
You.
I waited for you.
Bitch, I thought you were dead.
Started the outbreak of Willamette.
Holy shit, he's fucking giving the fucking the rock bottom.
The world has been lied to about me for so long.
You aged very well.
With you.
You're still hot.
What are you talking about?
There's no time to explain, but you must know you will not meet the same fate as your friend.
Holy shit.
They will not live inside of you.
Holy shit.
They cannot.
Is your my worm can live inside you?
You need to tell me.
Nick just Chris Browned that lab woman. Hey, that bitch started everything.
I'll explain everything when we're safe. Please trust me.
Oh, she died.
Stop!
You tripping?
No! You're not going anywhere!
It's Isabella. No, I know it is. Yeah, from the first game.
Go to the warehouse.
Yeah.
Be the plane. We're gonna get out.
I will meet you there. And then
She's still hot. How much time has passed since the first game? Like 10 years? No, she didn't. I thought she died. I'm tripping. Is there an ending where she dies, maybe? Like that's not canon? I'm glad she lives. Is her brother's what? Claudio or what's her brother's name? What the fuck is this? I'm fighting the assistant from Iron Man 1. Oh boy.
We will hunt you down!
Oh! Oh! Oh my god! What the fuck, game? Chill, chill.
I've been looking for you, Orphan. You ruined me.
Your mother was a can opener. Carlito. Okay. Thank you. Man. Ah! The puta. Damn. I don't. Do I keep attacking it? Okay, leave me alone. I'm scared. I'm scared.
I see worse than you.
Got a fire axe too. You'll never catch me.
I won't stop until I'm dead. Do you hear?
I thought I can combine it. The door. It's open. Wait, this door right here? Another one. Wait. First of all, fuck you guys. And second of all, I'm overwhelmed. No. Oh my god. Ah. Can I just run for it? Ah. Hold on. The only character I remember from the first game besides Frank is a lady that let the zombies in. Yeah, she's her fucking dog. That little fucker. Fuck off! Angel, help! Really? Boom! Boom! Wait! Boom! Hit the fucking gas tank! Ah!
I'll hunt you down. You
Cement saw. Hit the fucking bonus points, your boy. Do you remember the dog's name? That's a good question. You're such a fan. I love it. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee, Rick. Oh. Fuck, I thought I did dodge it. Okay. Fucker. Oh! Ah! Okay, cool. Fucker. Eat it. Alright, and then get the rations. Get the fucking rations. Okay, alright, I see what's happening. I'm downloading. I'm locking in. I know Kung Fu, bitch! This game just turned into like fucking The Matrix. Donatello now. Oh shit. I want to say Fifi. That sounds right, actually. No, but it's a good guess. Is it like a reference to Resident Evil or something? It's Madonna. Oh, that's cute. Okay, cool. Uh-oh. I pick up the rations. Pick the fucking rations up. Oh my god! You're cheating! Madonna. Fuck! I'm so scared. Put the money in the bag or I'll dust your ass.
Your sacrifice won't be in vain. I'll show them all what I've got you.
I shoved the dick in your mouth. Fuck, there's fire everywhere. Ah! Fuck. I'm the fuck out. Eat your veggies. Eat your veggies. Eat your veggies. Okay. Eat my dick. Holy shit. It's a vocal stim for me and my dog because she's all white too. I can't live without my sweet, livable little doggy. Okay. Oh, dude. You didn't tell me this turned into fucking Dark Souls all of a sudden. I missed that tutorial. Pick this shit up. Eat more rations. Really? That's all my rations give me? Alright, let me get... Please, cutscene. Okay, let me the fuck out of here. Where do you learn those moves from? GTA? Is that... Oh, yeah. Where do you learn those moves from? GTA? Oh, no. He's like, where'd you learn those moves from? GTA? Yo, what's that on? You got a PlayStation 2 or a GameCube? Man, they got Gamecast. Gamecast? No. He was like, what do you mean, GameCube? He's like, no, it's Gamecast. I can't afford it. Some shit like that. I'll watch that movie again. Is this chapter over? Oh my god. Blueprint acid rain. Damn, I might be able to finish this tonight. What do you think? Ooh. Look at the time. I should have started this sooner. But you know what? Be out here. Brah, brah. Another chance. You don't think I'll finish it tonight? How many hours? Like 1 or 2 hours? Got 1 or 2 hours? What do you think? I could do it.
Getting the hell out of this city. I'm taking my friends with me. There's that damn karaoke bar.
You underestimate my power. This isn't even my final form. Flare gun. Chemicals. Oh shit, we got stuff. Don't, but you got a ways to go, I believe. Large metal pole. Wait, what? Oh, it's one of those items. And I can put everything else in my fucking inventory, but not this? Fuck you. What'd I get? Chapter 6 complete? Tight. Fine? No. Fuck. Whatever. Coming in, yeah! Yeah, doing side quests no more? Oh, I am. But I got here in an hour and a half. Not counting the fucking bullshit. Speaking of. Speak of the devil.
Looking all dreamy at the hotel in Central, man.
Is it candy? He was nice. Fuck out the way. Hey, this is where the game started. No, they go in there. I don't want to be here anymore. No, but you have a ways to go, I believe. Alright. Well, I'm still gonna play for like a half hour, so let me see how far I can get. Do it! Oh boy.
Yo, what we did from before? Got a chick with him at the yacht in Central. Doesn't look good.
Psycho. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay, alright. I drive that? No. Ease, Rick. Where's the next side mission? Okay, I'll do... side quest, but let me re-up on everything. And then I'll get to... safe house. Get the fuck out of here. Wait. Is it easily accessible? Bitch! Where is it? It's underground. I can't find it. It's... whatever. Just want to go home. Stairs. Stairs are good, right? The fuck do I get out of here? Hold on. These stairs aren't good. Oh, the big sign that says exit. Nice. Yeah. Oh. Ah. Right. The old toy box. Like a bazooka in here or something. Different toy box. Find them all? Do I have to do the karaoke thing to leave? Get the fuck out! I think I do, actually. Shit. Alright, let's do it. I just don't want to be in here anymore.
Well, if it ain't our old friend from the house.
Probably should have saved. Like a new save slot or something.
Hey! Shit. Shit.
Shit is right. Lock the doors. Where? Okay. Alright. I level up.
Have you seen the clown that hides from gay people?
No. Is this a joke? Where's the punchline? I'm panicking a little bit. If you can tell. Stairs? Stairs? Stairs. Good. I like stairs. We like stairs here. Saying no is the punchline. Think about it. Oh. Nice. Oh, I kind of want to do the Breaking Bad. Got me. This is stressful right now. Leave me alone!
Wire's cut!
Trying to go on the street.
Looking for a snack?
Oh yeah, this thing. Nice.
That should do it.
Straight up coffee creamer. Nice.
Here we go.
Oh. That's funny. That's a good joke. Alright, chill, Joe. It's gonna last. I hate that I take damage while doing this, by the way. Alright, unlock
Have
the
you
doors.
ever seen an eggplant?
No more locked doors! I'm an Aztec warrior! Football ones are annoying. Here's the doors. Alright, am I going the right way? No. Yeah? Yeah. Oh. Oh shit. God. Have you ever seen an eggplant? Yeah.
Gotta get going.
Is this like a dick emoji joke? Escape the metro. I'm trying. Let me out. Yes. Oh my god. Not in the mood, guys. Not in the fucking mood. Get the fuck away from me. Well, you've seen further up a chicken's ass than I have. Oh. There you go. I was waiting for it. I was like, what is it? Where is this? What are you up to? Let me get to here. How much time do I have? I'm glad it's daytime. I'm fucking sick of the night. It's spoopy. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh no. Near a safe house? I passed one. I don't really care right now. I'll be okay. Oh. Wait, do I have any? No. I have this though. Get the fuck away from me. It's right there. It's right there. Get the fuck away from me. No! Fucking fuck. Holy fuck! Okay, give me. Okay. Holy fuck. That was rough. All right. Game got harder. Holy shit. Okay, level up. Okay, let me go to this safe house here. Do my thing. Oop, wrong button. And then mark it. And then yeah. Save this guy, do the thing, and then kill this motherfucker, re-up, and then it's stoner bashing time. Just crash immediately. Oh yeah, I forgot the game's kind of a dick and I can't go through. Oh, I can. Punch it, Chewie! Ah! Fucking bullshit. I'm busy, guys. Bullshit. Nick. Oh fuck. Give me a car. Give me a little. Give me some goldfish or something. I need a snack. Chinese food? Hell yeah, perfect. I love Chinese food. Oh my god. Becky, look at her fucking butt! Okay, it's better. Jesus Christ. It's Jason Bourne. Oh my god, there's a car. Get in the car. Get off my fucking car, you whore. Alright. Flip a bitch. Now I need to go to the nearest safe house. Right there, okay. Right? Is it in there or it's around the... Yeah, it's this one. Wait, yeah, climb. Can I climb that? What's up? I should be able to climb up. Is it because I'm holding this? What the fuck? Let me up. Oh, okay. I guess I can't climb or jump high enough from holding certain weapons? That's, you know. Holy fucking shit, game. Alright, hold on. What do I have and what do I need? Anything and everything? Okay. Sure, I need some melee. And one that lasts. Oh. Flame sword's good. Mecha Dragon's good. And then the electric hammer thing. Is it? There it is. Electric crusher. Is there food in here? I mean, I'm okay. I'm not like a hit away from death like I was, but holy fuck. I was so scared. I almost died. Oh man. Bathroom. Let me save. Eat some bathroom food. Is there any bathroom food in here? Oh, just ninja stars. Man, I probably should quit soon. Holy fuck, that was rough. Okay. I'll work my way to the car. Then I'll drive to the side missions, and then I'll probably call it there. We'll see. So many zombies. Alright, what's going on up there?
Gonna take you all out.
Fuck. Please let there be like a bagel or something. Coffee, that works. And a bagel. That's being sarcastic. Was that Aaron Hernandez that tackled you? Here's the thing. If that's a football joke, I don't get it. I don't watch sports. Is Aaron Hernandez a football guy? Is he a sportsman? The only Hernandez I can think of right now is Jay Hernandez, the actor. Okay, how we doing, Merrill? He was the guy that played for the Patriots and he killed a bunch of people? Oh shit, really? Aaron Hernandez. How many people did he kill?
Okay?
I'll Google it. Is this like a Chris Benoit situation?
I'm just drifting down memory lane.
I mean no disrespect, man, but with all the zombies around, this really isn't the time for nostalgia.
Oh, I can't let
I'll
this
Google that
stop me
later.
from having one last look around my old city.
Like 2 or 3?
I've got cancer, I'm afraid.
A lot of people.
I'm not long for this world, and neither is this fine city. Just wanted to see a few things before they're gone forever. Like this hotel. Ah,
Is he in jail? Oh, he died.
In the colored ballroom. They always try to keep folks apart, don't they?
How'd he die?
Man, you don't need to give up. I can get you medicine. Maybe a doctor.
Too late for that, son. But don't you worry.
Too late for that, babe.
I had a good run. Care to take an old gal like me out for one last night on the town? All I want to do is see a few sights.
He hung himself in prison.
Going home.
I want to give her. Give item. Oh, I gotta take her to the lobby? Alright, bitch, I can do that. Like, I'm gonna give you a weapon though. Here, take this.
That'll work.
Don't mind if I do.
Is this weapon immortal? Let's go to the lobby, baby. That's a power console, baby. This weapon kind of sucks. Let's do this one. Alright, we're in the lobby, bitch. Come here. What do you want? What do you want?
Frederick and I celebrated our first anniversary here.
I don't care.
I must confess, I got a little tipsy on the gin.
Nice.
But Frederick and I, we did like to have us a good time.
Nothing wrong with that.
That means they booked. Oh, Jerry and I, there was nothing we wouldn't do. Oh, fuck. All right, lady. Actually, will this door open? Where's his lead? Actually, what's over here? Oh. No, let's just get the fuck out of here. Oh, Jerry now? On our honeymoon, he bet me over every piece of furniture in the suite. Me and Jerry were insatiable. Alright, get in the car, lady. Get in the car, lady. Getting spicy out here. Okay, cool. This'll do. Alright, get the fuck out. I wonder how long it would take in the zombie apocalypse before someone gets desperate, they start clapping zombie cheeks. I mean, I bet there's somebody out there with day one. They'd be like, hey, now's my chance. Bag of candy. Eat a bag of dicks.
Frederick got my ring here. I couldn't believe he'd got
Frederick.
real gold. So I bit right into it.
Saint Cherry.
You can still see my tooth mark.
I bet that's surprising.
Alright, where do you want to go now? Four. Bitch, I don't have a car. So can I? Oh, jeez. I'll find one. We'll be okay, lady. We both regenerate now I think about it. Slowly, but... Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Yeah. I'll have to find something on the road, lady. Let's go! Move, move, move! Oh, she's right. Yeah, she's keeping up. Good job, Meryl. Nice. Another taxi. Get the fuck away from the car. Hop in, lady.
Leave it.
Someone shove him out!
Wait, can I not cross that? God damn it. Hold on, you fuckers. Oh, shit. Hold on, I got a lady with me. Alright. Do I have a gun? I don't think I do. Fucking fuck. Meryl, no! Meryl? Meryl! Fucker! Pendejo! Leave my old sweet black lady alone! God damn it, game. They're gonna make me do this again. I don't have a fucking gun. Oh, wait. Did you guys drop one? Hold on, Meryl. I'm looking for a gun. Actually, Meryl. We can run past him. Can she make it? Meryl alive? Meryl, let's go. Let's skedaddle, girl. I'll get us some food. Meryl, 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 Meryl. Get in. Get in. Okay. That was close. That was too close. Damn. That was... He almost died. See if I can see some snacks. Is there a safe house? Oh. Well, technically there is one. Arm damage. Oh, I accidentally equipped that one. Oh, hold on, books. Let me get to a safe house. Or... Fuck. We might be okay. Sorry, Meryl. Good news is we're here. Bad news is I fucked up the car. How's your health? Not great. Oh shit. Is there food in here? Meryl, there might be food in here. Meryl, hell yeah. Here.
This'll do.
Why, thank you.
One more.
There.
You glizzy. Does the body good. Anything else here I can use? Before we go out? I get a crossbow, sure. I can combine that with salt and... I'm afraid to get seen real quick, so hold on. Oof. Is that nitrogen? No, that won't do anything. That's no good. Alright. Alright, lady. We're here. And there's a van, hell yeah.
Did you know those foolish folks at City Hall?
You know I didn't give a fuck.
Up for a big shopping mall? Folks these days don't know the good they got when they got it.
I have to agree with you there, man. But I think this outbreak's got people thinking.
No more memories. All right, is there a safe house nearby? Actually, let me see if I can clear out this safe house first. Then I promise it'll be a lot easier because I'll have good shit on me. Is this it? Oh wow, there's just one zombie in here. I can live with that. Lady, that was very stressful. I hope you know that. Oh, and a book. Four-wheeler fun? What does that do? Vehicle damage resistance? I'm gonna need that. Oh, alright. For sure, I need a gun. I don't need to run into those motherfuckers again, so... Let me start with that, just 'cause I don't know if it's recharged yet or not. Let me get this R. Yeah. And then flaming sword's cool. Oh, and then yeah. Oh, resupplying. All right, I did good. Let me drop. What is this? Oh, the acid rain. Acid rain. Some stay dry and others feel the pain. Acid rain. A baby born will die before it sins. Acid rain. Remember that when you moved away from the mic? That was chocolate rain, but that's the name of this gun. It's acid rain. A zombie bomb will die before it eats brains. I don't know, I'm workshopping it. Leave me alone. Let's go, bitch. Gots to go. We gots to go. That works for me. Hop in, Grandma. All right. No more, you bitch. I can stay on the main streets. All right. Yo, when that dude died and like all this, like the parasites and shit and the bees came out of his face and chest, that's pretty hype. Like I knew Diego was gonna die, just you can tell these things sometimes, you know, but I never even got like that, man. That's fucked. Already? I should switch cars while I still can. Not here, not here. Then go left. Yeah. Nice. All right, we'll find another car once we get on the freeway. Push that out of the way. Oh shit. I think we can go through here, right? Alright. Alright, Grandma. Come on. Come on, speed black Grandma. We're running for it. Oof. Alright, we're running for it, lady. Taxi! Where you at? Okay, cool. Oh my god, fuck this side mission. Oh my god, it's down there, isn't it? I did the thing. Let me loop around. God damn it. There's a tougher car up here? Probably not. Alright, I fucked up. You got me. Touche, game. Right, this way? Yeah. Oh, fuck. Oh, that was bad. That was bad. That was bad. That was bad. Meryl, run! Okay. All right, Meryl. Making a break for it. I cut through here? Get back over there. Oh, it's the mausoleum. Why won't it read? We can do this. You can do this, Meryl. Sick. Imagine having to do escort missions throughout the whole game. You had to bring Meryl with you the whole time, like she was your psychic. That's basically fucking Dead Rising 1. Just with all the shit was rough. Alright, we're here, bitch. Alright. Is this where your motherfucker is? Is he here? So good.
My son's buried here. A mother should never have to bury a child. But he had that infection. The one those zombies out there had once. Couldn't afford the zombies back then. Broke our hearts to pieces.
No more. Alright, last one.
They're all somebody's children, you know?
Get on the freeway. Yeah. Alright, let's... That'll work. Let's go back, you bitch. Ooh, nice. A hearse. They know what's up. Is this here when I got here? I wish they had like GTA, where it's like as we're traveling, they talk, you know? Like Saints Row even. Gee, especially Saints Row. Is this the right way? Guess so, I'll go around here. Left you in the car. Already? Yep. We're switching. And then Meryl. Hop in, pimp. Fuck, do I have to cross that bullshit again? Well, I got something for them if, yeah. The little roadblock with those military dudes. I'm gonna try and drive through it this again, but I'm armed now.
Where'd you go? Made it out of here alive.
In the car? It might be good. I forgot where it's at, if anything. Alright, we are golden. Switch. A car leapfrog. And yep. Alright, we're good. We're almost there. We're gonna jump for it, okay? I know a shortcut. She gonna jump? Come on, Meryl. Meryl. fuck? Oh boy. Hold on. We're not having that. We're not doing that right now.
Thank you so much for the wonderful time and getting me home safe.
Just throwing shit.
You're kind. You remind me of my son. Great.
Are you sure you just want to wait here?
Ah, fuck.
But no thank you. I've had a wonderful life, and I'm not afraid to die. Now you get going to somewhere safe.
A lot of pee-pee. Can I combine it? No. It's fine. Alright, let's kill that psychopath. Oh, I'm all the way over here now. Ugh. Alright, well, it is late. I do have work in 6 hours, so we gonna raid out. But let me save real quick. Hi, Shuri. I know. Cat's meowing at me. Like, go to bed, bitch. Bed, you dumb. I'm going. Hey, you're really cute right now. Save? Okay. Game is successfully saved. Second. Quitting. I might freeze. This game does weird things. Yep, I'm frozen. Oh, no. Yep, I'm frozen. And I'm back. So... who's here? Oh. Well, we are going to see who's live. All raids matter, right? Yeah, we're gonna raid lemon wedges. All right, everybody who's here, love you. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Have a great night. I'll see you all tomorrow probably. I think I'm close to the end. I might try to finish this tomorrow, a day where I usually don't stream, but we'll see.